In this installment, we'll be breaking down the finale of Super Wildcard Weekend with Monday Night Football matchup between the Arizona Cardinals and the Los Angeles Rams. Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Chef Dan. I'm here to give you the winning ingredients for your Monday Night Football Showdown slate between the Arizona Cardinals against the Los Angeles Rams. In division matchup we got going on right here. It's going to be very, very intriguing. Both of these teams are struggling coming into the playoffs. Horrible losses the last week. Well, one was worse than the other. That was just embarrassing on the Rams side. But let's deep dive into this. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MetsNSD. And also, if you're a viewer and you're not a subscriber, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Right now, we're trying to get to 1K. 1K will be the money giveaway. That 1,000 subscriber will be receiving some cash. All right? Now, let's deep dive into this very, very intriguing game we got going on between the Rams and the Cardinals on Monday Night Football. We got a gift from NFL receiving a 6-game here, an extra game for the wild card series. Very, very intriguing right here. Now, these two teams already have faced each other twice already. Very similar to the Bills and Pats. You know, this is the third time around. And we have two stories here, okay? We have a story here where we got a team of mercenaries in the LA Rams. They pretty much bought all these guys over here. And can they gel? This is a big moment right here. They brought Stafford over. They brought Von Miller over. Odell Beckham, all these guys. Weddle. And then on the other side, we had a very hot team in the Arizona Cardinals all season long. Very hot team, but struggled at the stretch end. Can they put it together for this playoff run? That's going to be very intriguing to see. Now, let's start off with the captain position. With the rankings, they're skewed because when I'm looking at the Arizona Cardinals, the Rams were pretty solid all year long with defense, but on the Arizona Cardinals side, and this is to their benefit in this game, they are a very strong defensive team on the road. I went to team rankings and I was able to look at total defense, rushing defense, passing defense, all those turnovers. They're top 10 in every category on the road. And then when you look at the standings and you're looking at the home or away, Arizona was horrible in Arizona, 3-5. On the road, 8-1. Absolutely outstanding. It's just like night and day. I don't know what is the pressure playing in Arizona, but when they're on the road, this is a totally different team. Totally different offense, totally different defense, especially. That's when things waking up. Chandler Jones gets going, and the other guys create turnovers, especially the sack rate. They're second in the league in sack percentage, and that correlates within the game here. We got Stafford really struggling in the last past pretty much the second half of the season. Stafford has been horrible. Turnover the ball, just inexcusable turnovers, and that can be very intriguing in this matchup. So we'll start off with the captain position. The first guy we're going to talk about, that's going to be pretty obvious. The first two guys are going to be Kupp and Kyler Murray, all right? Those are going to be your first top two captains. Kupp, because he's the number one wide receiver, hands down, in fantasy, without no doubts, okay? He has taken over the reins, 145 catches, almost 2,000 yards, receiving 16 touchdowns to Cooper Kupp. That connection between Stafford and Kupp, it's like night and day. Boom, 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 boom. They're just, it doesn't matter. They do not skip a beat. It doesn't matter who they're going up against. Week 14 he had 34 fantasy points against Arizona, and then week 4 had 11.4. That was like his worst week all season long, really. So I'm not going to be afraid going back to him. This is the number one option for Matt Stafford and for this offense. I have no problem paying up for Cooper Kupp. Definitely, you could get contrarian and just move him to the flex and see if you could definitely find a better captain. That can also be an option. That's not too crazy of an idea. The next captain we're going to go off with will be Kyler Murray. Very similar to Josh Allen when I talked about him in that Bills-Patriots game. There's too many X factors. You cannot fade Josh Allen and you cannot fade Kyler Murray. Their ability to get out the pocket and create is second to none. All right, it is very, very elite and it's hard to stop, and that's really going to put pressure on this Rams defense. The mobility of Kyler Murray, the precision of Kyler Murray, even without DeAndre Hopkins, he still has enough weapons between Zach Ertz, AJ Green, Christian Kirk. Rondell Moore should be coming back. They got Chase Edmonds coming out the backfield, James Conner in the red zone. This is a very, very high octane offense still, and that's without DeAndre Hopkins. Kyler Murray is a definite at the captain or flex. These are two definites in each and every lineup. All right, we're going to continue to go down. Stafford, I do have to mention him. Technically, like I said, the stretch run of the Cardinals defense has been bad, but on the road it's totally different. So I don't know what that is. And the play that we've seen as of late from Stafford has been atrocious. This does not lead well into a first playoff game. Stafford. We always had questions about him going up against winning teams, winning percentage teams. He dusted the easier teams at the beginning of the season. We thought everything was going to be gravy with this move, but he's looking like Jared Goff. He's looking like Jared Goff these past couple weeks, and it's concerning, especially going into a playoff game. Stafford, 2 interceptions against the 49ers, 2 interceptions against Baltimore's defense, which doesn't make sense, 3 interceptions against Minnesota. Seattle, week 15 was 1 interception. Other than that, he had the good little run between week 13 and week 14, but all year long he's been really been throwing some interceptions. Interceptions against Green Bay, 2 interceptions against 49ers, 2 interceptions against Tennessee. This is not good. This is not good. He's going to be lower on my ranks for captain. Definitely, you can put him in as a flex if this game is going to be very high scoring, which can be definitely a facet that's going to probably happen in this game. Stafford, I'll bump him down just a little bit because what I'm seeing in his decision making is not okay. It not is not okay. So we'll put him in here, but he gets a disclaimer. All right. Some key other guys at the captain position: James Conner. He's trending towards playing. He made his first appearance in practice Saturday. He should be fine. He's been absolutely a big part of this team in the red zone, converting goal to go situations and creating touchdowns. James Conner has had 18 touchdowns this season. That is insane, especially coming from the Pittsburgh Steelers. We all thought he was done and washed up, but he really became a great short yardage back and really took over the reins while Chase Edmonds was gone. Now I think they'll definitely have their 1-2 punch coming back, and that's going to be a big X factor in this game. We love James Conner, especially in that red zone spot. All right, Sonny Michel is another guy you can put at the captain's position. Cam Akers is back, but he just came back from his injury, from his knee injury, and they're not going to fully give him a full workload. Sonny Michel is now the guy. Darrell Henderson's on the IR. So they're going to be leaning on Sonny Michel, who also has knee problems, but he's looked fine for the majority of the season. A poor performance against the 49ers, but we had some consistency against Baltimore and Minnesota, where he put well over 15 fantasy points in both of those games. So definitely they're going to be leaning on him in the rushing and receiving department. And we'll talk about Cam Akers just a little bit when we go further down. So we'll throw Sonny Michel in there. Some other guys we need to look at for the captain position. I got two more for you. It's going to be Christian Kirk right here. This is the number one wide receiver right now for the Arizona Cardinals. He stepped up once DeAndre Hopkins is out. They also have the veteran AJ Green. I like him more in a flex position, but if you feel like you want to save a little more salary so you can spend up at other spots, definitely you can go that route. But Christian Kirk has been solid, getting the targets week 17, 16, 15. Look at that, 9, 9, and 12. A little bit lower volume against Seattle. I don't know if they had a scheme up against him that really changed that, but they put up a lot of points. They put up 30 points, but Christian Kirk was not the guy in that game. But he's still shown a consistency throughout the year from him, and I like him as a possible captain option. And then last but not least will be Zach Ertz. This is if I'm choosing the number one overall target getter in this Cardinals offense is going to be Zach Ertz. He's had an they're traded for him. So outstanding performance, 10 targets in week 18, 9 in week 17, 13 against the Colts, 11 against Detroit. That's a lot of targets right there. Hasn't been getting in the end zone. I think that can Obviously, that can change and turn around. He just needs an opportunity, really, pretty much. He might be getting unlucky, getting tackled right before the end zone, but Zach Ertz, give me the guy that's getting the most targets, and he's going to be one of those guys we want to put up higher on the captain list because of his price. You could definitely save up and pay up at other flex positions. You could go double quarterback. You could go double wide receiver on both sides, and throw in a running back. You get really creative if you save some salary for that captain position. Let's move over to the flex, and we got a long list here. All right, so first one we're going to start off with will be Odell Beckham Jr. They brought him over, coming from the Cleveland Browns, and he's had a very nice stretch from week 17, week 16, week 14, week 13, and 12. Consistency in the red zone. Obviously, they got a new toy and they fed him. Slowed up against Seattle, slowed up against San Francisco, but definitely is an X factor in that flex position where you really need him to get in the end zone, so he can pay off his salary. I wouldn't expect him in the captain spot. You can go there. I'm not saying it's risky, but the guys you want to key in on will be the higher targeted guys. Odell Beckham is definitely getting a decent amount of targets and has some upside to get in the end zone. He seems like the number 2 option in the red zone for this offense in the Los Angeles Rams. Okay, it goes Cup, it goes Odell Beckham, and then obviously you got Sony Michel who's should be running that ball in. All right, so Odell Beckham is a fine flex play. He can move up to an upgrade if you're feeling froggy enough. All right, Odell Beckham, we'll throw him in there. And then next will be, I'm not even gonna I'll speak on Cam Akers. I'm not saying he's a play. I'm not saying he's a play. He he just came back from Achilles injury. All right. Week 18. They gave him a light workload. I probably expect that in this first playoff game. Um Obviously they want to make a run, but then they also got to think about his future. This is their big ticket running back. Um who they really see as the number 1 running back, and they do not want to overdo it. That's why Sony Michel is still receiving number 1 carries. So if you want to go this route, I mean he has a ton of upside because he is that type of guy. But I'm not sure if he's 100% right now. Maybe in off season, definitely next year going into fantasy leagues. I love Cam Akers, but in this particular playoff game, his second game back, there are question marks. Okay. Next will be, let's go down because we really covered the top tier guys. Let's see the sneakier guys. AJ Green is going to be high on my list. I actually like him more than Odell Beckham. Between Kirk and Green, they're pretty much 1A, 1B in this offense now since the absence of DeAndre Hopkins. A decent performance against Seattle, a better performance against Dallas. We want that Rams performance in Week 14. So that's something bright to see that he already did this against the team he's about to face. 7 for 10 for 102. Didn't get in the end zone, but you saw flashes of the old AJ Green in that game. And at 5,800, that is an absolute steal at the flex position. There's more weapons on the Rams side right here. The number 3 wide receiver is Van Jefferson. He's more of the deep route guy. He's been getting sparing work. He'll pop off every other week or so. You really never know which game is going to be want to say weaker secondaries he usually comes off against, like Baltimore. That's a weaker secondary. Arizona, that was at Arizona. See, like I said, Arizona plays worse at home. So that game he had 14 fantasy points. He took advantage of Jacksonville, took advantage of a high scoring game in Green Bay. So if you see a high scoring game coming forward in this one, then definitely you can go that route at 5,200. Van Jefferson is that type of guy we can key in on. Tyler Higbee, been very up and down all year long. Just a middle type of guy. Had a great performance against the 49ers with 2 TDs. A good performance against Baltimore. But other than that, the more regular type of games you see from Tyler Higbee are for 5 for like 50 yards, just around there. You really need him to get in the end zone. And at 5,400, you could definitely take that option, that route. But I know guys will lean more to Van Jefferson or lean more to Odell Beckham who are around that same price range. So he is something you can key in on and put him in your lineups. Definitely if you're doing like 100 lineups, have a nice percentage for him as well. Next will be Chase Edmonds. Okay, if we get any other news about James Conner, even though he's trending towards playing, then we can go all in on Chase Edmonds. We'll bump him up. But other than that, he should get a nice amount of touches between both of those guys. Chase Edmonds getting in between the 20s work, where James Conner is more of the red zone guy. That's why he has 18 touchdowns. But he's a big proponent in the receiving game, and that's going to be a gem in this game if they get down or if they're up and they see some mismatches going up against linebackers and safeties. Chase Edmonds has been very good in week 17 and week 16, 8 or 9 for 71 and 5 or 6 for 29 in the receiving department, putting decent numbers up in rushing as well with a touchdown against the Colts. He is a high speed type of guy, very shifty, dangerous weapon. I really wish he was just the number one because he has that type of upside, but he's sharing work with James Conner. So I could definitely get there at 5,000. He has some high upside. All right, let's look at the real bottom feeders of filling out your lineups with these bottom feeder flex guys. One guy I'm gonna look in particular will be Rondell Moore. He's had some bright spots early in the season. Injured the last past 3 weeks. He's currently questionable, but definitely will be a boost to the wide receiver core for the Cardinals in this game. So that's going to lead on one of the later plays. If Rondell Moore happens to be in, then he's a very shifty guy, very speedy. I think that'll be a huge boost for the Arizona Cardinals. I believe he played in that week 4 game. Yes, he did. He had 3 for 28 and ran the ball. So they really use him because of his speed. He has very good speed. So Rondell Moore, we'll throw him in there as a bottom flex guy. Let me fix that for you. Kickers are going to be viable on both teams because the way they move the ball, a lot of opportunities should be in that area on the other side, so they can have opportunities to kick to field goal. And if I'm leaning on defenses, I already spoke about how good the Cardinals defense is on the road. Okay, they've been outstanding on the road, and we have the sack percentage, which can fluster. Obviously, Matt Stafford, the turnover proneness from Matt Stafford the past 5 weeks are very concerning. So if I had to choose one defense, it will be the Cardinals defense. All right, and some other gems down here. If Rondell Moore is out, then we can look at Antoine Wesley. He's a big body wide receiver. He's been looked at in that red zone area against Dallas and against the Colts, where he had 3 touchdowns in those 2 games. A decent amount of looks against Seattle, but no touchdown there. But he's someone very sneaky at 1,800 that Cliff Kingsbury definitely trusts and Kyler Murray trusts as well. And that's going to be the cheapest I'll go on this breakdown between the Rams and the Cardinals will be Antoine Wesley at 1,800. Let me give you my 3 guaranteed players, or even 2. So the definite 2 that you should have in each and every lineup is going to be Cooper Kupp and is going to be Kyler Murray. The third that I would have to choose, just because of the upside and he's just a big factor in that red zone, will be James Conner. Even against this Rams team, James Conner has put up elite numbers. Against the Rams in week 14, 33 fantasy points. And in week 4, I think it was it was James Conner again in week 4, 18 for 50 with 2 touchdowns, chipped in with a couple receptions as well. He's been outstanding against this team. They definitely need him back. He's questionable right now. He's trending towards playing. If he's in, yes, that's going to be my number 3 person that should be in each and every lineup. Cooper Kupp, Kyler Murray, and James Conner. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate the viewership. And if you have any other questions, if you disagree with my captain or flex play or have any other ideas, let me know in that comment section down below. All right, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MetsNetsJetsD, and I'll be back with another video very soon. Peace out, guys.